All right, today we're going to be talking about lateral and total surface area. All right, so lateral and total surface area. So what is surface area? Surface area is covering an object, a 3D object. Um, I think the best example of this would be wrapping a gift. Again, if you're wrapping a gift, birthday, Christmas, something along those lines, you're going to want to wrap all the sides so it's a surprise to someone. They can't see what's actually inside the box. Okay, you're wrapping with paper. To figure that out, you would have to find the one way of doing it. So if I had a box and I could break it down into a net, meaning break down my box into, these aren't all the same, but that's all right. Breaking my box down into 6 rectangles. We know how to find the area of a rectangle, base times height, and then add up to 6 rectangles, and that would be my surface area. So on the board here, you see I have lateral versus total. So on your star chart, you're going to have 2 different types of surface area, lateral and total. So what's the difference? So lateral is just covering the sides. I think the best example of this is when you go to the store and you buy a product, especially at the grocery store, they will have their advertisement on the side telling you what the product is, the calories, chemicals, anything along those lines. That advertisement that they're putting around usually just goes on the sides. So lateral is just the sides, the area of the sides. Total would be the area of the sides plus the top and the bottom. Now you can have word problems where they ask for lateral in just one bottom and not the top, or vice versa. So you have to pay attention to the word problems. So in our formulas, we have capital, for lateral, we have capital P times H. What does the P stand for? P stands for perimeter of the bottom shape. Perimeter of the bottom shape. So what's your bottom shape? Well, it depends upon what they give you in the problem. A cylinder, your bottom shape is going to be a circle. On a triangular prism, we'll listen to how we say it. It's triangular prism, so triangle starts off. Triangles are bottom shape. So it depends upon the object, but first you need to identify your bottom shape, 2D shape, find the perimeter, and then you multiply by h. And your h is the height of the 3D shape. So your capital P stands for perimeter of the bottom shape. Your h stands for your h stands for height of the 3D shape. Sorry about that. So total, as you look at the formula for total, it looks similar. It starts off with pH, and it's still the same thing. P stands for perimeter of the bottom shape. H stands for height of the 3D shape. And again, when you have a letter, when they're both next to one another, that does mean multiplication. Okay? And then plus 2b. Now, 2 is easy, but what does the capital B stand for? The capital B stands for area of the bottom shape. And so, how do you find the area of the bottom shape? It depends upon what it is, whether it's a circle, whether it's a triangular or a rectangle. You're going to you use the appropriate formula, you find the area for the bottom shape, 2D shape, and then you multiply it by 2. So what does this look like? Let's start off with the rectangular prism. So let's do lateral first, lateral surface area. Okay. So pH is our formula. So what's my bottom shape? Well, obviously all the shapes included in this are rectangles. So technically it doesn't really matter what we say is the bottom shape, but let's just go ahead and use what they gave us. So we have this. All right, so let's find the perimeter of the bottom shape. So we have 15, 2 times 15 plus 2 times 12. Or just add up 15 plus 15 plus 12 plus 12, and we get 54 inches. Then I'm going to multiply by the height, which is 6. And 54 times 6 is 324. Now, since it's area, surface area, even though it's surface, it's a lateral surface area. Since we're dealing with area, your answer is always in cubic units, like inches squared. Okay, so that's how we find the lateral surface area. find the perimeter of the bottom shape. They're all rectangles, so it doesn't really matter what we use as the bottom shape, but again, I just used the one they gave me. 12 plus 12 plus 15 plus 15, then multiplied by the height, which was 6, and that gave us our lateral surface area. So let's remember the 324. So let's find our total surface area, which is PH, I said it's 324, plus 2 times capital B, and that capital B again stands for area of the bottom shape. So what is my bottom shape? Again, it's a rectangle, and this is easy to figure out. The formula for area of a rectangle is base times height, lowercase b, times lowercase to h, or length times width, and 12 times 15 is 180. And then 180 times 2 is 360. Once I'm at 360, that is my 2 capital B. And then I'm just going to add them. And 324 plus 360 is 4 and 8 and 6. So it's 684 inches squared, and that would be my total surface area. So how do you find total surface area? Start off with the pH. Capital P stands for perimeter of the bottom shape. H stands for height of the 3D shape. And then plus 2B, 2 capital B. Capital B stands for area of the bottom shape. This is a rectangle. 12 times 15 is 180. And you're going to make sure and plug it in the formula because 180 times 2 is 360. Add them up, follow the order of operations, and you get 684. All right, what is the surface area? So first we have to identify what kind of shape are we dealing with. This is a triangular prism. Triangular prism. So let's find the lateral surface area. The lateral surface area, our formula is pH. So first we have to identify what is my bottom shape for that capital P, which stands for perimeter. My bottom shape is a triangle. So, but the way it's drawn, the triangle isn't on the bottom. That's all right. If we can identify the bottom shape, it doesn't matter how it's drawn. Just imagine that actually being a 3D prism in your hand. You could hold it upright and put the triangle on the bottom, the 9 going straight up and down, just to realize that the triangle is your bottom shape. Let's find that perimeter of the triangle. So notice we have 5, 5, and 6. So 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 6 is 16. My height is this, 9. Again, because I could turn my 3D shape where the 9 was going straight up and down. And I'm going to try to draw this. Probably did a terrible job. That's not that bad. So this could be my 9. We have our 5. That's a 5. Oh, that's a terrible 5. And a 6. Okay. I'll write this in red. 5, 5, and 6. All right. So now that I know I have 16, which is my perimeter of the bottom shape, the height is the height of the 3D shape, which is 9. And 16 times 9 is 144. But again, it's dealing with area, lateral surface area, so it's 144 centimeters squared. That is my answer for lateral surface area. So let's remember, let me erase this. So remember the 144, because now let's find the total surface area. So we already said this was 144, but now we're going to have to do the 2B, capital B. Capital B stands for area of the bottom shape. So what's my bottom shape? It's a triangle. And so how do you find the area of a triangle? It's base times height divided by 2. Area equals base times height divided by 2. Now the lowercase b and the lowercase h, as you guys know, are always attached to the right angle. So what dimensions am I going to use for this? Well, what's attached to the right angle in the triangle? So we have 4, and right here we have 6. So we're going to plug in 4 times 6, or 6 times 4, either way, and then divided by 2. So 4 times 6 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. Now in this, it's, a little tricky. I'm going to do 4 times 6 divided by 2 is 12, but then 12 times 2 just gets me back to 24, but that's all right. want to follow the formula exactly as is, just so I don't screw up. So then I'm going to add these two together, and I'm going to get 168, and that is my answer, 168 centimeters squared. So how did I do this? Well, again, we had already found the lateral surface area, the pH. Find the perimeter of the bottom shape, multiplied by the height of the 3D shape. And then the 2 capital B, 2 times the area of the base, or the bottom shape. Dealing with a triangle. Again, how do you find the area of a triangle? The area of a triangle, the dimensions are the base and the height, and they're always attached to the right angle. So on this one, I'm going to do 4 times 6, which is 24, and the formula calls for base times height divided by 2, which gives you 12. I plug it back in the formula. 12 times 2 is 24, and I add up everything, and I get 168 centimeters squared. Centimeters squared. Now, a cylinder, the formula is a little different than the other ones. Why? Well, the side is made up of a rectangle. Think about it, if you had a can of soup, and if you took off the advertisement, the little label on it, it would come out, and if you tore it off perfectly, it would look exactly like a rectangle. It wouldn't look like one, it would be one. And then we have a circle on the top and a circle on the bottom. Now the formula I have written down right here is for lateral surface area. So let's talk about this formula. So 2, okay, 2 is 2. Pi is pi. It's an irrational number, and it's the relationship between the diameter of a circle. It's a terrible circle. The relationship between the diameter of a circle and the circumference. And the circumference is the perimeter of a circle going around it. We don't call it perimeter because there are no sides. But again, pi is the relationship between the circumference and the diameter. It takes approximately 3.14. We do it in a different color. 3.14 diameters to go around. Almost gets all the way back. So it's approximately 3.14. And R stands for radius, and radius is, let me draw a new circle. Radius is half of the diameter. A lot of problems will give you the diameter, so you're going to have to divide by 2 to find the radius. And H stands for height of the 3D shape. So let's just say on this cylinder, our radius is 5, and our height is 12. Okay, so let's find the lateral surface area of the cylinder. So let's plug in what we do know to solve for what we don't know. So surface area equals 2 times pi times the radius times the height, which is 12. Okay. Back in the day, we used to have to multiply this out by hand, but I would definitely use a calculator because, again, pi is irrational. There's a pi button for that on the calculator. And once you multiply this out, this is irrational again, so you can't get the exact answer because we can't write enough decimals. But it's approximately 376.9911, goes on forever. And that's really dang close to 377. And then we'll say units. I didn't tell you what it was. Centimeters, miles, inches squared. Okay, so that's how you find the lateral surface area. It's 2 pi RH. The R stands for the radius. The H stands for the height of the 3D shape. So let's remember that number. And let's look at the formula for total surface area. Our total surface area is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Now this gives us the lateral surface area. If you notice on the top and the bottom we have a circle. This right here is the formula for area of a circle, and it's times 2 because there's a circle on the top and a circle on the bottom. So let's change things up, and let's just say the radius is 7 and the height is 9.3 centimeters. I think that's centimeters. So actually, let's start new. Let's plug everything we know. So 2 pi r, which is 7, and h is 9.3, plus 2 pi r squared. Now, if you plug it in the calculator correctly, the calculator knows the order of operations. If you were doing this by hand, you would have to use 3.14 for pi. And just make sure, again, you're following those order of operations, or you're going to get the wrong answer. Now, I'm not going to do this by hand, but if I were to plug this in the calculator, I would get 700, approximately, surface area equals approximately 716.9114, so on and so forth. So we'll call this 716 and 9/10 centimeters. And again, we're dealing with area squared. That's how you found the area of a cylinder. The last shape is a cone. I'm just going to quickly go over this. Formula for cone, actually, that is in algebra or geometry, and so I'll save that for another day. So let's go back. So surface area, we have, as you see from this page, we have a lot of different things we could find the surface area on. In 8th grade, we are limited to certain objects. The list will expand in geometry, but let's start off. We have lateral and total. Again, lateral is just the sides. Total is the top, sides and top and bottom. So in your formula, your capital P stands for perimeter of the bottom shape. Your H stands for height of the 3D shape, and your capital B stands for area of the bottom shape. And again, sometimes one of the more difficult things is determining what the bottom shape is. So just listen to the name, like on this one. We have a triangular prism. So what's our bottom shape? It's a triangle. On a cylinder, we have a totally different formula, but it's pretty easy, especially if you get to use a calculator. You just write down the formula. You plug in what you do know to solve for what you don't know. So that has been our lesson on surface area. I hope it's helped. If you have any other questions, you can email me at jhewlett@leisd.ws. Thanks and have a great day.